Hey YouTube, so today we're going to go through the process of installing Active Directory domain services as a role, as well as promoting that server to a domain controller. So me, I've been a sales engineer for just a couple years now. This is one of the first things I had to learn with general IT administration is how to do this. So let's go through the process and talk about the importance of it, as well as just how do we do it. So what you're looking at right now, this is a basic server operating system, specifically a 2012 R2 operating system, in which you want to open up Server Manager here. Once we're in Server Manager, we're simply going to go to Add Roles and Features, and we'll get this wizard up here. We'll hit Next. Default, we'll hit Next. And here you can see this is my computer name and my IP address. I named it Millennial DC there. And you'll see at our server roles we have a variety of different roles, but the one we're going to do today is our domain services. So again, we're going to promote this server to a domain controller, have an Active Directory structure, which is the basis of installing or managing all of our user and computer accounts. And then we'll hit install. So we'll keep all those settings default. Again, what this is used for is organizations have a variety of users and computers that are joined to something called a domain. And think of it kind of like a forest and a structure base, like a tier based structure, in which at your forest you might have your organization. Below that, you might have different subsets of your organization, like a Fort Lauderdale, Florida office or a California office. And within each of those offices, you might have different users and different computers. So it's a way to manage and keep track of everything by giving things like permissions, user accounts, like admin controls, deleting certain servers. Let's say I have a server for DNS, so for dishing out IPs to other computers, that might be something we manage there. And we'll close that. So now that this is done, you'll see here we have a little notification, a little yellow icon. That's to let us know that there's still some configuration required. And we're going to go ahead and promote this computer to a domain controller. And you'll see we have three different options here. We can add this domain to an existing domain. So if you were trying to add it to a domain that's currently available in your organization or something along those lines, you would input that domain here. But in this case, we're just going to add it to a new forest since this is our first time creating this. And we'll call this millennial.local. So the format of the domain is generally something.something. You could do a single one, but single label domain names, they're very odd use cases and you don't really see them too much. I think I've seen like one customer with a single label domain name. Here's going to be our forest functional level, domain functional level. We'll just keep those as default, 2012 R2. You might need to change that depending on if you're joining it to an existing domain. Choose next there. And we're going to get a NetBIOS domain. One thing I actually forgot to do is I am going to need to create a password for my admin account here, so I'll just go to user accounts because it does do a prereq check, and if your admin account doesn't have any type of password associated with it, it's going to fail that prereq check. So let me just create a random password for this, close out of that, and as we do next, you'll see that's our NetBIOS domain name is millennial, so it looks good there. And it's going to bring up the path. So again, this is kind of a basic 101 in terms of IT administration. Whenever you set up any type of home lab environment or when you work at an organization in IT, they're most likely going to have an Active Directory structure unless they're a very small organization. But this is still great to know from the get-go. And I actually am thinking of creating kind of like a combination of videos going through the process of setting up a home lab environment, getting server operating systems in that home lab environment, and how you can do so for free, if you do have an actual student email address, you can get all of these operating system softwares completely free available to you. So if that is an interest to those viewing, please let me know by writing in the comment box, and I'll make sure to work on getting a line of videos in terms of setting up your own home lab environment, because that has been extremely helpful for me, and there's multiple ways to do it. You could do it using VMware Workstation, which I'm doing right now. It's just local VMs. You could also buy your own hardware and actually install Hypervisor upon that and use that as a dedicated server for your home lab environment, which does have some more associated costs with it, but there is some added benefit to it. You can see here it's doing the prereq check, and it's actually, no, we passed the prereq check. We're doing the installation right now. So this will take a little bit of time. It shouldn't take too long here. And once this is done, it'll have the Active Directory structure created. You'll see it's actually creating the schema right now, which, think of that as like an Excel spreadsheet in which we're just storing a bunch of data. So those user accounts, user passwords, what group they belong in, like if I belong to the HR group that I created or the IT group. And then it's going to go ahead and ask me to restart. And once it's restarted and I'm able to bring up my server back, you'll see I will have a variety of different tools available to me, which I could go ahead and manage certain systems. But that's really it. That's everything from promoting a domain controller. If you have any questions, feel free to write in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks, everyone.